This next recipe is just one of the simple ones that I would do if I'm not wanting to really get into measuring anything. The first thing I'm going to start with is preparing the butternut squash so that it can cook while I am cutting up my other vegetables. So this is my butternut squash. It's not a very large one, but it'll be large enough for my family. As you can see, my 4-year-old got a hold of it and decided to color on it, but that won't bother us cooking it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is actually cut off the stem, slice it in half, and then take the seeds out. So this is what the butternut squash looks like when you cut it open. So I am going to get the seeds out. Then I'm going to actually put some soy sauce on my lined baking sheet because we're trying to keep with not using as much oil as possible to stick with the dietary rules, and the soy sauce is one that they will let you use. I don't know if it's gonna turn out nasty or not, but we'll find out. So you preheat your oven to 400, you place your squash face down, and then you throw it in the oven, I believe about 30 to 45 minutes. Of course, you want to check it when the flesh is tender to touch, soft, and you know it should be done. Now the next thing I'm going to start preparing is my fresh green beans. As you can see, I have the water in the pot. I'm going to put in garlic and onions. And this is an original recipe, but I have to admit, my husband was the first one who kind of did this recipe. So we've been using it since he kind of came up with it. And we're also going to put cut up mushrooms in it. So I'm going to let the garlic and onion saute for a few minutes. I am now going to add in the green beans. Now you can see that they've been cooking a little bit. I'm going to let those saute till the green beans are pretty tender, and then I'll add my mushrooms and seasonings. So you can see the green beans are cooking, and I did add a little bit more water. So as the water cooks down, just add more to it instead of adding oil. I am also going to make some quinoa, which is a type of grain. And this is the bag and kind of what it looks like. So let me add the quinoa. I already have the water boiling. I think I may do a little bit of cilantro lime, just like a cilantro lime rice with the quinoa. The quinoa is a grain. You can make many different recipes and use it in many different things. You can just kind of go online and look up some recipes, what you can make with it. All right, so now my green beans have cooked enough to where they're a little crisp, but they are getting more tender. I'm gonna add in my mushrooms now, and I'm just gonna continue to saute those. In the meantime, once mushrooms cook down, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and a little bit of extra seasonings. You can season your green beans however you like. And then I'm also gonna pour just a small amount of balsamic vinaigrette. I know I said we're trying to stick with the no oils. The balsamic vinaigrette that I'm using actually has soybean oil, so I think that should be okay. Okay, so I think that my squash is done, so I'm going to reach in here and take them out. As you can see, they have browned. So now I just got to find somewhere to put them. Okay, so this is the quinoa that is already completed. It's pretty fluffy, as you can see. It's not really like rice if you haven't eaten it. It's kind of like little bitty, I don't know how to explain it. They're kind of little circular grains. So I do not have cilantro. I mean, I do not have any lime, so I'm gonna have to switch this up and do something else with it. But whatever it is, it should turn out pretty good. So these are my squash, the butternut squash that I have already roasted in the oven. I cut them up, and I am actually going to prepare them a lot like you would do sweet potatoes. So I'm just adding cinnamon on top of them. Then I'm going to take some maple syrup, because you can have maple syrup while you're eating on a whole food plant-based diet. Of course, everything in moderation. And I'm just going to drizzle a little bit over top. I'm going to throw these back in the oven for about 5 minutes, and then we will show you the finished product. And so this is the plate of green beans with mushrooms and balsamic vinaigrette, quinoa with a little bit of soy sauce in it, and butternut squash with maple and cinnamon. So this meal was a pretty easy one. While it took about an hour to cook, mainly for the prep time, with roasting the potatoes, cutting off the edges of the green beans, and cutting up the vegetables, that's what took most of the time up. But other than that, this is one of the meals you can make that is really simple and easy. So thanks for watching.